Week number 5, Bears go back on the road, open up district play. Before that, Jason, win number 300 for Coach Peterson, but more importantly, 4-0 for this season. Big win over Tipton last week at the Little Rose Bowl.
Coach Peterson showed a lot of emotion with that, but on the other hand, as we talked about in the podcast, it's not about what he's done. It's not physically him going on the field and winning 300 games by himself. He talked about it's all the team. Every kid that's ever played, every assistant coach that's ever been a part of it, every manager, everything that's been a part of it, we're a part of that 300 win. It's a special thing. When you're one of only 13 guys or guys that have ever done it in the state of Iowa, it's a pretty big deal. And 4-0, that's even bigger deal.
Yeah. 4-0, that mythical Cedar County Trophy, a little bit closer to coming to West Branch again. But it was a game. I mean, we talked about it with the podcast. We talked about it after the game Friday night. I mean, it was just a good all-around team victory. You can't really point to one individual that was just the difference in the game because everybody stepped up and made huge contributions.
You had 3 touchdown passes out of your quarterback. You had 3 touchdown rushes out of your running back. That means the 5 guys up front were doing well. So that's 7 kids you've now named. Receiver went over 100 yards, and Trey Eagle. Brett Sheely made catches. You had 7 guys make catches. So it is a team victory. And defensively, new guys are at the top of it. Besides John Hatfield, who's again at the top of the tackle list, you look at the next guys on the list. Dakota Kailberg. Hadn't heard much from him as much on defense throughout the year. Now he stepped up and when he had the opportunity, and he made a difference. Jeff Bowie, and so forth and so on. So I think that, again, that's the lifeblood so far as this team is the way that defense is playing, Stephen.
Yeah. And they're going to need to come into play because competition gets pretty stiff this week. You've got a top 10 opponent in Bellevue on the road up at Bellevue. And this is a squad that, again, we've talked about it. I mean, some of these guys, they've been playing for 2, 3, some of them are playing as freshmen. So, this is their 4th season on the varsity level. They are tough. They're hard-nosed. It's going to be a really good football game Friday night.
And the 5 guys up front, the majority of them have been together for 3 seasons. As an offensive line, when you can gel and you know what each other are going to do, I know this guy's going to make the call, and it's probably going to be right. Stephen made a comment in the podcast. If you hadn't had a chance to listen to it, I'll kind of tell you a little bit. He talked about these guys, Hunter Clausen, and going back to Peter Kilberg, one of Matt's favorites running backs we've seen besides West Branch kids, being old school guys. Yeah. Old school, like hard-nosed runners, not wanting to always bounce and move around so much, but when they're hit, those feet keep pumping. Every coach is always saying that. Keep your feet moving, drive forward. And those 2 guys have been pretty special. I mean, he's averaging 10 yards a carry right now. I mean, there's only one other kid in the state of Iowa in Class 1A at 9.5 or above. He's right back here. So it's going to be a battle between those 2 guys at the 5 up front, man.
Yeah, and it's a situation where, Clausen's probably going to be leaned on quite a bit. They're still working on that passing game, which is pretty darn good if you look at it. But when you replace a guy like Cade Doherty, he did a lot of great things, a 3-year starter at quarterback for them. You've got a couple of guys that have been switching some things around in there and still getting a little comfortable back there. And so situation where maybe the Bears can take away some of that running game, force them into some situations where they aren't as comfortable, and maybe take advantage of some of those situations.
We hope so. I'm guessing that's in the game plan. But on the other hand, the new quarterback's a little bit more. He's a little elusive. Yeah. He's not quite the runner maybe that Doherty was last year, but he still is. I mean, the kid has thrown for around 600 yards. Got another quarterback getting some, and if you watch the film from the last game, they got 2 guys getting in there and getting some snaps. But 9's taking the majority of the snaps, and again, he's thrown it to a kid named Doherty. Yeah. All-state wide receiver from last year, Doherty. So from that perspective, as it changed, it's just he's not quite as accurate as the last guy, but he's still, when you watch film, he's still putting it in there on the slants and on the skinny posts. He's putting it there on the dime most of the time.
When you say not as accurate as the last guy, there's not many guys in the state that will be as accurate as Cade Doherty was. So
he's a once-in-a-generation kind of quarterback for a small school.
Yeah, really. It's not taking anything away from the 2 guys that are playing now. So they come in, they're 4-0 on the season. They ran through their non-district as well, and it's a little different because it used to be, okay, we got those 4 out of the way, now we start fresh. We do start fresh with district play, and district standings matter, but not as much as they used to in the past, except for winning the district title.
Yeah, if you win the district title, it doesn't matter. If you went 0-4, you can go 5-0 now. all's forgotten. You're the district champ, and you're 5-4, and the second place team could be 8-1, and they may not even make the playoffs because of the new system. So this game looms large, as we talked about it again, making a reference to the podcast. But anybody that follows the rankings in the state can see it's the marquee game as far as rankings go of any class in the state of Iowa this week. You got 2 top 5 teams. West Branch is ranked number 1 in the Cedar Rapids Gazette. They're tied for number 1 there. They're number 1 in the AP. Bellevue's top 5 in both of those. No other class, no other game can match 2 teams as highly ranked as this. So, man, if you got a chance, go to Bellevue. It's gorgeous up there, Stephen. You guys, I will say, besides the little Rose Bowl, it's the most beautiful vista in the state of Iowa for high school football, just with the backdrop of the river and things. But so a lot of things going into making this a very good football game, and let's hope the Bears can take care of business, play by play, and minimize their mistakes and their penalties, and come out victorious on the road. It's not going to be easy.
Well, we invite everybody to make it up there to Bellevue to watch. If you cannot, though, we will have all of the coverage for you with the Bearcast. 7 o'clock will be our pregame kickoff, scheduled for 7:30 from Bellevue. Jerry, Mike, and I will have all of the action for you right here at westbranchfootball.com.